When you drive the brand ranked #1 in dependability by J.D. Power, you can stop thinking about what you can't do and start doing what you never thought possible. Visit your local Kia dealer today to see yourself behind the wheel of the brand ranked #1 in dependability by J.D. Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Kia received the fewest reported problems among all brands in the J.D. Power 2022 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study based on 2019 models. See jdpower.com/awards for 2022 details.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches.
Urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea podcast. I'm Danny Sheriff, your host, certified fertility awareness practitioner, functional nutrition counselor, and founder of the HA Society, and of course, an HA recovery coach who has walked where you currently are walking. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. So let's dive in. But last thing, nothing on the show should be taken as medical advice, so please seek the advice of your physician. There's the cloud. Hey everyone. Before we jump into this episode, we have some very exciting news. January 10, the next cohort of the Restore program is here. And we have put some like rocket fuel on this program. We are so excited.
Yes, we are so pumped to bring you a program with weekly, yes, you heard that right, weekly live coaching. And this isn't just random, hey, what's kind of come to our mind, but this is very structured coaching sessions that we feel is vital to your recovery, meaning that we're going to get straight to the root that's holding you back.
Totally. We ran the very first version of this just at the endish of last year, and it went so well. We saw what worked, what didn't. We fine-tuned it, and the feedback was incredible. And I think it's to what you were saying, Ashley, this weekly coaching, it's not just these group calls. It's where we do food reviews for every single person. You'll have 3 food reviews so we can review your diary and give you actual feedback on exactly what you are eating as you move through the program to help make sure you're moving forward, as well as exercise reviews and any kind of advice that you need around that kind of thing. And the coolest part, which we didn't do last time and we're so excited to be adding in, is there will be email and one-on-one call check-in points as well for each client.
Basically, meaning that you're going to have the structure of how to move forward and the support all in one. It's literally the best coaching package you're going to come across. Like, I was joking with Danny, but this might be the greatest bundle in the world. Like, we are bundling all of our services to be the most effective course you could go through and get your period back.
I think that's a really great way to put it, right? We've taken like the elements of one-on-one coaching that we do that's so effective and the elements of our community, the HA Society, put it together in one and been like, okay, here's the community aspect. We're going to do these live coaching sessions, but we have developed like an actual syllabus for all of it that we know through all of our experience with all of these clients. We know that these are the fundamental things you need to know, right? And so we've put that in a class with a group and brought one-on-one coaching in to help make sure you're getting the individualization that is extremely important for each person. And it's amazing. Like, it is literally the best bundle, the best bundle in the entire world.
Yes.
So we don't want to keep you from the episode much longer, but we want to prepare you. January 10, the Restore program is opening. There is 100% a spot with your name on it. Because if you're done wasting time, like, right, Ashley, you should just get in these people's ear.
Basically, we don't want you wasting any more time on like something that can be fixed. You're not the unicorn. I hate to tell you that you're not the unicorn. And I don't want you to be the unicorn. Come get your hormones restored, your period restored. And if you want to have a baby, let's do that too. I mean, I can't exactly help you, like,
yeah, we're there.
The process, but we can get you ready. You can get that too.
Yeah. It's like, what is getting your period back worth to you? Is it worth waiting any more? Is it worth continuing to DIY it? Which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to actually get your period back and have it be in the healthy parameters and work hard on your relationship with your body and with food, this program is 100% perfect for you. So come and get the help of both Ashley and myself, both of us, right?
Yes.
Taking you through this program along with everyone else that joins you. Come and do it. Check out thehasociety.com/restore. Sign up for the wait list. Get ready, because Restore is coming and 2023 is going to be your year.
Yes. Excited to see you there.
Nice. All right. On with the show. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the AJ podcast. We have a returning guest from like 2020, I think.
It seems a long time ago, but probably wasn't that long. Yes.
Yeah. Welcome, Dr. Nicky Kaey. So Dr. Nicky Kaey, I'm going to get her to introduce herself a little bit, but she is an honorary clinical lecturer of medicine at the University College London, which is super cool. But even more cool is that she's a medical doctor. And as you guys know on this show, more often than not, we're less impressed with our experience with medical doctors. You know what I mean? Like, just in fairness. So it's so exciting and encouraging when we can have one on the show who's actually passionate and knowledgeable and helping women and helping other people help women in this subject. And she's on the show today because she's written a book that I think you guys are going to love, and we're going to pick her brain on it. We're going to share about it. But before we do, welcome, Dr. Nicky. And please tell the listeners a little bit more about what you've been up to since we last spoke, and what brings you to writing this book and all that good stuff.
Well, thanks again for having me back. And I guess the reason why I wanted to write this book was because all the conversations I've been having, all the conversations with my patients, all the research work I've been doing, giving presentations, coming on podcasts, I'm passionate about giving people the information in a way that they can understand and in a way that's practical. And so I thought, well, what better way to do this to reach an even broader audience? Why don't I put it all in a book? Although, to be fair, actually, I was very lucky. I was actually approached by a publisher who said he noticed I was doing all this stuff. Would I like to write a book? And
the dream. I'm waiting for one day.
Yeah. Well, so I wasn't really thinking, I have to be honest, I wasn't thinking, I'm going to write a book. But then when he said that, it's like, oh, of course, that's a brilliant idea. Let's put it all there. Let's put all the things that I have learned over 30 years of being a doctor. Yes, I am old. All the stuff that I have learned, and I've learned with patients, with the participants of my research study. Well, let's put it there for everybody to benefit from. But the other thing is, I wanted to put it in a way that people truly can benefit from, not just from people who are medical doctors and have lots of letters after their name, as we were joking earlier. You know, it's not a textbook. This is a book for, you know, everybody. I mean, you know, I want to make sure, though, nevertheless, there is some of my opinion in it, but people can also be reassured that it is written with all the evidence. So if you like your references and everything, don't worry, they will be in there at the book. So anything that I say, I will back up with, you know, research papers, etc. In the, of course, the references at the back of the book. So if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But I know when I'm reading a book, so it's like, what do I like to read? I like to read books which I can understand. Yes. But also, if it is on you know, a scientific topic, I always look to see what references, what's, you know, the evidence is, just, you know, and so I know that's what I expect from this sort of book. So people will have that as well. So that's why I wanted to write it, put it all there, so more and more people can benefit from what I've learned and what I've experienced. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and I mean, I noticed that you, and maybe this is just an English thing that I don't know about, but I noticed that, yeah, it's the way it is structured is Act 1 scene.
Oh yes, no, that's not because I'm English. Well, it might be, but the main reason is because I want to put my own personal twist on it. My passion, apart from hormones, my other passion is dancing. I still do 4 ballet classes a week, so I put a little bit of the theatrical in it. So it is in acts, not parts, because that's boring. And also it's not chapters, they're scenes. And, you know, there's the prelude, there's the entr'acte, and there's the coda. All right. So, but it's just because I want to give it the personal touch, because this, and actually one of my endorsers, the endorser, the person who wrote something which really actually was so lovely of her, and she exactly articulated it, what I was trying to achieve with the book. She said that she loved that I poured my knowledge, my passion, everything into the book. And that's exactly what I've tried to do. So that's also comes to the personal twist about calling it acts and things like this. It's just like something a bit different. You know, this is so people also can relate to, they'll have all the information, but also they feel hopefully like it's a conversation, like they can visualize me dancing through the chapters of the scene sort of thing, you know what I mean? So it gives it a little bit, something a little bit different.
Yeah, there are realities we don't learn much or absorb much if we're not like somehow entertained at the same time. So yeah, it sounds like it's maybe a bit more conversational and just easier to absorb because we're staying engaged. So pumped about it. Now, for the listeners, based on the chapters of this book, the cool thing is that this is not a book about hypothalamic amenorrhea. This is hormones, health, and human potential. So performance, optimizing health and performance, and not just women, but also men. So and I was excited to have you on the show to talk about it, because lots of women in this space are a lot more multifaceted than just like, hey, I have HA and that's all I care about. When we get into this, we really get into it. And we're like, well, what's happening in men and why are we different? And understanding human physiology is such an important key part of recovery for so many people, because we spend a lot of time just being like, but why do I have to do this? Or why is this happening to me? Yada, yada. Can you speak a little bit to the importance of understanding, I guess, like what's happening inside our body and understanding the overall impact of hormones on our body, and that, you know, some of us think it's kind of happening in a vacuum, and I can't tell you the amount of times, and it seems surprising, but you know, everyone's different. The amount of times I've had people say like, I can't see it, right? Or like, I feel fine, you know, even though they are cold all the time and they might not have a libido and things like that, you know, I still feel fine. Like, I don't really want to change.
Well, this is the thing about hormones and the human body in general. It's complicated. I have to accept, I kind of agree, on the other hand, out of all the hormone systems, networks in the body, the female hormones, it's true, are the most beautiful, are the most complicated. I love them. That's why I particularly love complicated. But that's just one amazing system. There are many other hormone networks going on, and they talk to each other. And by the way, we don't, the men have hormones as well.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like, oh, I mean, so that is really the key thing, that if you, as you say, are too blinkered on one particular thing, absolutely female hormones, I have to say, of course, as a woman, yes, they are kind of top of my list, I accept, but you have to take them in the context of all the other hormones. And also you have to take them in the context of what you're doing on the outside, how you can influence those. So another premise, so making it relevant, understanding it is what you're saying. But one of the premises for the book, my opening thing, in the prelude, I give a Hippocrates little quote. Hippocrates, this chap was an ancient Greek, 2,500 years ago, sometimes referred to as the father of medicine. And he makes this amazing quote saying, or statement saying that if we could give every individual just the right amount of nutrition and exercise, not too little, not too much, we would have found the surest way to health. This guy was onto something, wasn't he? It's like, wow. But he made this, so basically he is articulating personalized medicine, personalized lifestyle medicine. Here are your behaviors, you got them, you try and balance your behaviors. You balance your behavior. You don't balance your hormones, by the way. Anyway, so he made that statement, and I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. But then some of the book is like, well, why was he right? Why was he so right? And if we peel it back and see why was he right, then we come to the conclusion it must be these hormones. These hormones are impacting our internal physiology, absolutely, and our health. All of the hormones, not just the female ones, all of them, the whole symphony of your hormones. But also your hormones are very sensitive. You don't live in a vacuum. Like you say, you don't live in this hermetically sealed box. There's other things going on around you. You mentioned people doing lawnmowers, but anyway, there's environmental stuff, but also your behaviors, your behaviors, the ones you choose in terms of what you eat, when you eat it, how much, etc., what exercise, how much sleep, and all this sort of thing. So the body will interpret what you're doing and communicate that through your hormones. And one other little thing. So hormones are really key. And by the way, it comes from the ancient Greek word hormone, setting in motion. Setting in motion, right? Present participle verb, if you remember your grammar. Anyway, so what does that mean? Setting in motion, what does it do? These hormones, everyone's heard of DNA, haven't they? Right? The blueprint for life. So the blueprint for life, the DNA is sitting quite comfortably, nicely coiled up, not, minding its own business inside the nucleus of all of the cells in our body. A hormone comes along, knocks on the door sort of thing, goes into the nucleus, tells the DNA, hey, listen, this person has just, done a whole heap of exercise. You need to now pump out a lot of protein for the muscles, for example, So this is what the hormones do. They communicate to your DNA what to do according to your behaviors. That's why Hippocrates is right. And that's a summary of what the book's about, telling you how there is that connection between the outside, your behaviors, and how that translates through to your health and how you feel, and etc. And therefore, along that journey, I'm going to give you some top tips of how to make sure, that all works smoothly.
Yeah, don't give them away here. Everyone has to go buy the book. Now, I haven't read the book. As you said so much stuff, I'm like, I'll write it down. I haven't read the book yet. Obviously, it's not out yet. It's out 2 days from
Friday, my birthday.
Yeah. Ooh, happy birthday. So I get to ask you questions where I don't know anything about it yet. Now, I love, yes, how the hormones mean to set in motion. We recently did a program, a 10-week program called Restore with a bunch of women, when I opened it up with this, right? Like, this is where it comes from, where in the, like, your hormones kind of disappearing is like it's not great, but it's a natural thing that's happening because of your life, your behaviors. We need to sort of arouse them. And it's a comforting and fun way, instead of saying like fix your hormones, balance your hormones. It's like, let's arouse, let's balance our behaviors. I love it. Now, something that you're alluding to as well here, which I think is super fascinating and is a question I get a lot, so I bet you get a lot, which is like, why am I different to her? Comparison. So comparing your health, your hormones. And I've been playing with this idea that, like, I feel like my body has a different personality to me. And so sometimes that's why we don't always like see eye to eye. I'm like, I want to do this. Why are you not complying? And then I'm also noticing that the chapters of the book in Act 2 go from infancy, childhood, teen, they go in order. Do you believe, or answers however you want, do you see in the evidence that we're very individual, because, and it starts at infancy? And so, like, what happened in your life, how you lived your life through, impacts why you, or like why I, as a 30-year-old woman living here, doing similar things, having a similar lifestyle to other women, my body is different, my physiology is different, and it all started at the beginning. Like, you know, why are we different?
Well, because we're not clones. We're not, thank goodness. You know, there was that, you know, we've had all these sci-fi things where we have all the clones of, we're not, even identical twins are identically different. Anyway, I like that little analogy. Anyway, so number one, that's just, of course, we have the basic nuts and bolts, you know, all of us, you know, like the female hormones, this is how they work, etc. But we're not clones, so there will be little nuances, like the score for you know, I don't know, whatever, for a Mozart symphony. The score is set, but how one orchestra plays it and how another orchestra plays it will be subtly different. You will recognize it absolutely. Well, if you're good at music, you'll recognize, oh, it's a symphony, whatever, I don't know. Well, they have all those numbers, don't they? Whatever symphony, whatever symphony, you will recognize it as that Beethoven symphony, Mozart symphony, Beethoven, whatever it is, the piece of music. But it will be it will be a little bit different, won't it? You will never have it, even the same orchestra playing that same piece again later, when maybe the orchestra are a bit older, they will have changed it a bit. So that's the analogy why we are different. But going back to why you know, everyone, you might recognize the Nutcracker, but everyone's doing a little different. Exactly. Otherwise, yeah, quite. That's just life, right? So that's that point, that we're not clones. Your point about, you know, when does it all start? What is it? When is it decided what version of the Nutcracker you personally are going to be performing through your hormones? Which version? Is it the New York one or the All Valley one or whatever? That's going to actually, and this is really, it's kind of partly decided when you're a baby in your mother's uterus. It's what's called prenatal programming. So it's amazing, isn't it? So, you know, how the body already is starting to prepare, the baby is being prepared for life outside. And so already the endocrine system, the hormone system of the baby is being prepared for what it anticipates going to happen when it's born. So we have evidence for this from, you know, when there was the starvation during the Second World War, and lots of women, you know, were pregnant, but they didn't have enough food. So the baby's system was prepared for being born into the world of famine. So in other words, it was very, very thrifty.
Incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. Now that's great. This is a temporary, I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail here, but it's like a temporary sort of flip on the DNA, what's called epigenetic tag. Anyway, so that's great if you are truly born into a famine. I mean, it's not great, obviously, being born into a famine, but you understand what I mean. You're prepared, sort of, to as much as one can be.
Yeah, like your body's trying to be like, okay, well, how can we be efficient in this environment?
Yeah, exactly, whatever it might be. But the problem is that sometimes that switch sticks into future generations. And then, like when we started, children were driven to school and not doing so much exercise. That's partly why we're on the other end of the spectrum. I know we're talking about HA, but actually, the obesity epidemic. So when you're saying different stages of life, so just sum up what we've said, everyone is different because you don't all do the nutcracker exactly the same. That's why. And also some of it is what's happened almost, well, it is out of your control in that sense. What's the environment for your mother when she's pregnant? But then the good news is that then as you go through the stages of life, you can sort of adjust according to your situation. And we know that young children who are sitting in front of computers all the day and not doing enough exercise, that's actually pretty bad, and actually already it's not so good for when they're going to become adults. And of course, the teenage years, we go through all the stages of the life when what you do, so it's not like a Greek tragedy where the fates set in motion, the fates decide it's you are going to be destined to do this or that. Some of it is set that way, but I want to encourage people, like you're doing, like you just described, encourage people. You have control over this. The empowering thing about this is if you look at your behaviors and match them up to what you personally need to do, you can reach your full potential.
We have been working with women one-on-one to get their periods back for well over a year, and it's been really effective. We strongly believe that you need a individualized custom recovery protocol that goes across nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, exercise, the whole thing. And we believe in that a lot. We're not really willing to waver from that. But what we have been doing up until now is only offering video-based coaching. And we've been hearing from you guys that that's great, but doesn't work for everyone. So we want to implement this new trial of email-based only coaching. So no scheduling, no Zoom calls. It's all through email. We do a weekly check-in, so you'll send us an email once a week with all of your details, what was working, what's not working. We'll make tweaks and changes to the plan. We'll also get you on track with learning to use the fertility awareness method to track progress. You'll get a customized program. We'll be basically holding your hand through the whole process, and you'll also be able to chat with us as much as you want, or to your assigned coach as much as you need in between these weekly official check-ins. So who is email-based coaching for? It's for anyone who is going through HA recovery, trying to get their period back. It's for anyone who has had a recovery period or 2 or 3 and is looking for help optimizing or getting pregnant or getting back to training and trying to ensure that training isn't getting in the way of their menstrual cycle. We're all about custom goals here, and everyone's an individual and everyone's life is individual. And so we want to work with you to reach whatever goal you have in a way that works with your lifestyle and your mindset, all while helping you to have a solid, healthy relationship with food, with your body, with your exercise. That's our whole mission. So if that's your mission, come and join us. We'd love to work with you at thehasociety.com/coaching. Go there, hit buy now, get started, and I'll immediately send you your intake forms and we can get started with your goals right away. So that's thehasociety.com/coaching.
If you try and copy what you've seen on social media, or you think somebody else is doing this thing and then that must be the answer to looking amazing, if you think there isn't a shortcut in life, let's be frank. If you think, oh, this must be the magic recipe, and you do whatever you think it might be, I don't know, something, then that's probably that might not be right for you, but you're only going to find out because you don't reach your full potential. So when you mentioned, Danny, that there were people who said, you know, I'm okay, even though I'm feeling cold. So yes, your body will make you survive. So you will survive, you will live, you will be alive, but will you reach your full potential? No, absolutely not. So, you know, don't limit yourself to what you can achieve. You know, you should always be striving for the best version of you. You know, but we can't determine, everyone will be different what they want to do. I mean, at one point I wanted to be a professional dancer, but anyway, there we go. You know, but you know, whatever it is you want to achieve for you personally, absolutely make that your goal, and make sure you know, satisfy yourself getting there as far as you can.
Yeah, like work with your body.
Yes, not against it. Yeah.
Yes, not against it. So, you know, you may want to be a dancer, but whatever worked for Misty Copeland is just not, like, you can't just go and do her masterclass and then like expect that that's going to be the thing, right? It's and you know, I think at the beginning or before I mentioned feeling like my body has a different personality to me, and that, so you know, we can't make this progress if we don't do the work mentally. And I see, like, with the epigenetics and what you're saying here is like, and we see this all the time, and it's a bit tough to like to say in absolutes, but if you are eating a ton and resting and still not getting your period back, maybe, or like there are some behaviors in there that you're using, like, I'm eating more, I'm resting more, right? And it might on paper look really good, right? Like you as a doctor or me as a coach might look at it and be like, yeah, okay. Why are we still not seeing progress? It's like, because there's still intense amount of fear of this, like of the weight gain or whatever is happening. We need to deal with that, I believe, like emotionally, in order for our hormones to, it's like the body knows,
Absolutely. Listen, such an important point. You know, old-fashioned things like mind over matter and all that sort of thing. How you think affects your hormones. I will repeat that. How you think, or how you process, how you interpret, how you feel affects your hormones. There's a study I quote in the book where of women, the fear of the drive for thinness, as it was described, or you could also say, therefore, the fear of being larger, however we want to phrase that. Just the anxiety of that affected the thyroid hormones. I also found this in a study of dancers. We did a questionnaire, and those dancers that were more anxious about, you know, how much they were eating, how much they're weighing, their shape, how much they're training, you know, anxiety around all these things we're talking about, well, those are the ones that had, yes, a lower body weight, and also the ones that had more likely to have menstrual disruption. So how you think, how you interpret your emotions, whatever, that has an effect on your hormones, and that has an effect on your physiology. So exactly what you're saying. If you are on paper doing all the right things, yes, I'm doing this, but you're doing it like, oh no, I don't really want to be doing this.
It's stressing me out to do it.
It's stressing me out, exactly. It's stress, yeah, response to stress. Because the body doesn't distinguish where stress is coming from. It could truly be stress from a saber-toothed tiger back in the day. Thankfully, we don't have that one, but it could be the stress you are interpreting this as a stressful situation, that you feel you're doing something you don't want to do. That will, as you say, hold your progress back, because there is a communication. It's no coincidence, by the way, that the master controller for all your hormone is located, guess what? Right deep in the center of the brain. So it's right at the, the nexus where all the information is coming in from, what's going on outside, and your interpretation of events. So this mind and body connection, they're not really separate things. They're one and the same. So I think this is where the psychology of the fact that it's like how you interpret things affects your hormones. I mean, me saying this, even I'm finding that amazing, because as a doctor, an old-fashioned doctor, I have to admit, and an old doctor, I am pretty old-fashioned. It's like, give me a blood test. I want to see the result. I want to see the evidence. I want to see. But when I've done this research myself, I was surprised. I was like, wow, I have to report this, write this up, because this, even to me, is pretty mind-blowing. And so I think that's really such an important point you made, Danny, that it's not just going through the motions. If you're really engaged in it, but the only way, in my opinion, you can ever be engaged in that and wanting to do it is if you understand. If you understand that your behaviors affect your hormones, that affects your health, that helps you reach your full potential. If you know what I mean? If you understand why you're doing it, not just lip service saying, yeah, I'll do that. But if you truly understand it and sort of, you can commit both physically and psychologically. It's, yes, I'm going to do this. I mean, listen, it's hard. We've been there, right? Me personally, many years ago. So listen, I know I'm sitting here and this all sounds very easy for me to say. I know everyone listening is going to say, oh, well, what does she know? She's this old doctor that's just going on about all this stuff. Honestly, I've been there when I was a lot younger. And I remember sitting in that chair and it was going over my head. It was like, I would nod and say yes, because I knew that would just get them off my back. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But if you can try and, reconcile that yourself, then that's going to make everything a lot easier for you to reach that full potential that everyone deserves. Everyone deserves to reach their full potential, whatever that looks like. And just remember, you're actually holding yourself back in the long run. So just taking on that psychological aspect, so important. Difficult, the most challenging bit of all, but worth it.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? People, it's almost like, Western medicine is the only way. Your mindset stuff is super crunchy. That's from chicks from Los Angeles. But, and that's what I love about the concept of this book, that where the science has now the evidence or meets the evidence, or, when I put it all together, I see the evidence is pointing towards you can't have one without the other. You can't just manifest your period back, and you can't just, eat more and still live in anxiety. The two must come together. And this is why it's so important. Yes. And I'm so excited for people to have this resource where they can say, all right, let me go and understand, get on board. Like, let me go and get on board. Let me go and see what's happening underneath and come to terms with, like, I am a unique snowflake in the sense that, yes, my nuts and bolts are the same, but, I have a different story. And this is really personal to me. Just like, I will lose my period very easily. Just so bloody easily. And I don't know, I don't really know why. Like, I don't know what's going on in my physiology, because there's not a bunch of women in my family with this issue necessarily. But there's something about me, and I can see it in my behaviors and my personality, how much I put on my plate, how normal it is for me to achieve 10 things a day. And it's so, like, this lets me sit back and look at that and say, okay, is my determination matching up with what my body is saying? What is my body saying? And can I listen to it? And can I let go a little bit of this belief that I have around achieve?
Well, yeah, that's it. So I'm encouraging people to reach their full potential and strive for that. But on the other hand,
But is my full potential, is my full potential actually being reached by achieving 10 different things a day?
Well, that's just what I was going to say. Exactly. So I just want to temper what I've said there, because what you've said. On the other hand, so I want to encourage people to try and achieve whatever that is. But on the other hand, be realistic. Like I said, I was thinking I wanted to be a professional dancer. But then, it's like, listen, I was able to be realistic and say, well, yeah, I'm not going to be Misty Copeland or Darcy Bustle as it was here back in the UK anyway. But then I accept that. It's like, but I'm still reasonably good, by the way, and I can still do lots of classes. I can still do amateur shows. I can do it on my terms, rather than getting myself, trying to be a professional dancer and try and get into medical school. And this, it's like, hold on a minute. Now that's just being unrealistic. So like you said, perfectionism, we know, of course, you should strive to achieve the best you can, but, be realistic. You can't do all the, there's no person in the world that can do all these things.
Yeah, I think
so don't set your ups. So just be realistic, but also be aware that life sometimes gets in the way. Things happen. Things happen, and your direction might change. That's fine. But the other thing I say in the book, it's how adaptable you are to your environment. What happens if you're so rigid? I've got to do this amount of exercise, otherwise, I don't know, the whole world's going to crumble in or whatever. Actually, if someone rings up and they ask you to, I don't know, whatever, hey, listen, it's my birthday, will you come out with me? Actually, that's probably more important, your friends and your relationships, and actually doing that workout, whatever it is. So again, try not to be too rigid, and being flexible. Things happen, and be prepared, and also resilient, because you will have setbacks. I personally developed rheumatoid arthritis. I think it was about 15 years ago, and I've now got 2 hip replacements. But for a while, I was really, this is normal. I was really pissed off. It's like, that's not fair. No, all that thing. But then it was like, listen, this is where I am. This is what I have to do. And you know what? I've just got to be positive and get on with it. So, so of course, try and strive and achieve what you want to, but as you go along, you might have to change. Try not to be too rigid, because stuff happens, right?
Yeah. Well, achieving your optimal performance, whether it be physically or just in life, I truly believe it is saying no to things.
Yeah,
ask any elite athlete. Their life is not, that is all they're doing. Like they are saying no to other experiences to make it to the Olympics or whatever. Like that's the reality of their choice, and that's okay. They are doing the same thing. A lot of people in the HA space have said, I'm going to make it to the Olympics and I'm going to be top of my class. And that's where it's like, no, at that point, you're not working for performance. You're working for
a schedule.
You're just like a workhorse. You're just like producing stuff, and you're not doing any one thing, particularly well, when what you want is to do something particularly well. You want to be seen. You want to be able to say, look what I did. And instead you're following all these rules that aren't bending, so you're breaking. It's so true.
Yeah, no, it's good. The psychology, as I say, I'm an old-fashioned doctor, but the more and more I've been looking into it, just that sort of it is psychology, life management, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is. And now I've been through the mill. I've gone down those pit holes of like, I've got to be brilliant at everything. It's like, hold on a minute.
I'm sure it's resonating with you, because you're probably thinking back to when you were like studying.
Well, exactly.
And probably dancing a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to, so that's also what I hope with the book, that it's like, look, giving people that guide. Well, that's why I've called it the subtitle is a guide. So it's guiding. I'm not saying, I'm not dictating you have to do it like this, but it's just like guiding you hopefully along the best path for you, but also with a little bit of warning about the pitfalls. There's a big chunk about REDS and HA, so people hopefully will get an overall view and understanding of what's what's going on inside their body, why hormones are so crucial, and including that the brain and the body, they're not two separate different things, by the way.
Yeah, we're one ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So good. People are definitely going to pick up this book. I think we've hyped it up a lot. I'm excited to get it. Is it only going to be available in the UK, or will it be?
No, it's available. My publisher, Sequoia Books, actually, you can go on their website and there's 20% pre-order discount, and they do ship internationally, but also it'll be available on the usual channels, good old Amazon. So yeah, you can get it anywhere in the world. It is in English. That's the only thing. I haven't yet got around to, that's for another day, definitely. But you can get it wherever you live, written in English at the moment. Maybe in the future, some people are saying, hey, can I make it into audiobook? That might happen, but listen, we'll see. One step at a time.
It affects your, they don't count audiobook sales towards overall book sales.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really, I'm
doesn't matter, but
I don't know. No, I agree, but it's just that I've had that mentioned. But listen, I put everything into writing the book, and actually, I am old-fashioned. I like the paper book because then I sometimes it's like you can dip into it. By the way, you can read the book any way you want. You can read it according to Act 1 and Act 2, but if you really want to, and you're super keen, you want to dive straight into a certain scene, please do so. But that's the other reason why having a physical book's quite nice, because you can always, oh yes, what was that? I can't remember that bit, and you can always go back and everything like this. So it makes it easier. Anyway, it's got a nice cover, so there you go. It's got a nice cover with hormones that are floating around, and a little sketch of that's actually a sketch of me jumping in Australia many years ago, and I got one of my son's friends is a very good artist, and so she made it into a line drawing. So anyway, yeah, physical books are always nice. I think.
Love that. Well, congrats on it. The link to the Sequoia website to buy it, because it will be available when this episode goes out, is in the show notes.
Cool.
And I hope you guys love it.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
You have a really amazing day, and we'll see all of you guys next time.
Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much, because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care, because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.